What's the deal, my people? Thank you for joining me in my channel, Panama's OG Truth. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me right now. And before I get into this one, before I break this motherfucking heat down, please, if you have any children, any kids, anybody that has a sensitive stomach, anybody that's easily offended, this is your time right now. Please make your exit. Please get out within earshot, because what I'm about to bring to you guys is the only way I know how to do it. Raw and uncut Panama's OG Truth. Welcome to my prison chronicles. You already know what time it is. I'm speaking from my perspective, my experiences, my actions, and some of my homeboys' actions. And if you were incarcerated with me, you already know what time it is. I don't have to say it, all right? What's understood, say less, like they say, okay? But today we're gonna be talking about Beetle One once again, or as they call it, the bloody Beetle, all right? If you look at my other video, she liked what she liked, he liked what he liked. That shit is wild, but it's true. If you watch that video, I break down Beetle One pretty accurately, okay? Like I said, it reminds me of ghetto Las Vegas, mini Las Vegas, okay? Bunch of money. If you have money, you can basically get away with anything in that bitch, straight up, no exaggeration, okay? Beetle One, 3,000 man unit, big as fuck, and there's all kinds of things going on Beetle. If you're into, doing drugs, they have it. Weed, cocaine, heroin, pills, alcohol, you name it, okay? And this is in the late 90s, all right? And back then, you didn't have Cash App. You didn't have the cell phone boom that we have now. It was starting to come around. Cell phones were already making their way, but it wasn't like it is now. And even though I've been out of the penitentiary damn near 20 years, I keep up with a lot of these things because I still have people that are incarcerated, okay? I got homeboys that ain't never going home. Let's get that understood. So I know how this shit still runs. Cell phones now, it's a common thing. It's a norm. It's considered contraband, but like I said, shit don't stop in a penitentiary. Just because you're incarcerated doesn't mean that you don't get your hands on contraband or illegal stuff. Like I said, money talks. The same way it talks out here, the same way it talks in there. Probably even more in there. So, if you have cash money, and it could be, you attending it by controlling the narcotics trade. Narcotics in prison is very, very lucrative. If you control that trade, 9 times out of 10, you have the power. You have a high status. You have the keys to the yard, like they say. Okay? And when you have that type of power, that type of notoriety, and then you're able to put muscle behind it, you become pretty formidable, pretty respected in the prison system. And this cat that I'm talking about, he had a life sentence. He had, I believe, 2 murder cases. He had a life sentence. So he was never going home, okay? And he already been locked up over 25 years when I hit this penitentiary. And like I said, this dude, man, and everybody knew him from the administration on down to the COs, the other convicts, everybody knew him, all right? And he had, like they say, he had the final say-so. In other words, he was a shot caller for a certain organization. And when I say organization, I'm not gonna get into if it was a family, I'm not gonna get into if it was a street gang. All I'm saying is they were operating in the prison system and they had a structure. And he was the main guy that was running that clique or gang, whatever you want to call it. He was the final say-so. Let's say it was a democracy. It was down by votes, okay? But he had the final say-so. His word carried a lot of influence. That's what I'm trying to say. So he would have his people lined up, the people that were backing him up. And like I said, man, let me just give you a little bit of politics. And this is the truth, what I'm going to tell y'all, okay? You got people trying to paint prison like it's a real honorable, very, honest environment. And it's all about, if you handle your business, you're going to be all right. And 99.9% of the time, that is true. Okay? but you also have a lot of bullshit, a lot of lying, a lot of deceiving, a lot of hating, a lot of bullshit ass politics that people throw out there. You know what I mean? To get their way. So if for example, if you know this person right here has a reputation for, let's say, he's in prison for underage sexual contact with an underage girl. Okay, that's however you put that. That's a no-no. You get your ass smashed for that. No questions asked. Ain't no motherfucking there with no charge and people know about it and they're giving them respect. It ain't happening. But you have some of these dudes that they got money and they're able to, like, you know, hide this shit more discreetly because they got money. It's easier for you to focus on somebody that don't have no money and you like, fuck that dude, man, get his ass out of here. Bust his head wide open, let's get his ass out of here. Than to do it to somebody that you're benefiting from. Somebody that has money. Somebody that's spreading the wealth, like they say. Somebody that's putting food in your mouth. You know, whenever you want to smoke that joint or whatever, hey man, shoot me some. They got you. Somebody like that, like I said, he has a lot of cats that are feeling them. A lot of cats that are showing them love. A lot of cats that are showing them bullshit as respect because he has money. And that's prison politics. As long as motherfuckers are getting something out of this dude, he's tolerating. Okay? That's just the truth. Then you got the motherfuckers that they don't give a fuck if you got money. If you trash, if you shady, if you in there for something, you know, they'll get you fucked up and they find out, guess what? They're putting your ass out there and you will get fucked up. In other words, they live by the laws of the land. They live by the principles and the rules and regulations that dominate the prison politics. Okay? In other words, the gang structure, the gang life in prison. And I always say it, the gang banging out here in the streets, that's just a joke compared to gang banging in the penitentiary. In the penitentiary, that's where the real gang banging starts. You ain't got no guns. So you either cold with your hands or you gotta have the knife game. That's how penitentiary rolls. Okay? So by him having this type of money, this cat, and let's call him Big T. Alright? That's not his real name. That ain't what he went by. Like I said, I'm not here to, you know, drop no names, drop no people's background. All that shit is irrelevant. I'm here to just to point the picture of how this happened and why it happened. Okay? That's what I'm here to do. So he probably had like 200 of his homeboys that were literally like backing him up. In other words, this dude couldn't do no wrong. Okay? What he said, it was pretty much gold. But you have certain COs, correction officers, that they like to see shit. They like to see mess. In other words, they know certain things and they use these certain things to create friction, to create problems, to see shit go down. In other words, they're manipulating the situation where they could get somebody that they don't like, they could get that person X'd out, in other words, fucked off, smashed off the unit, blasted off the yard, however you want to put it. And then you have these same correction officers that are financially making something out of it. In other words, they could be bringing in contraband. It's all kinds of ways, all kinds of different schemes. Like I said, that I'm not gonna get into. Like I said, that's just irrelevant. But this female guard, the CO, one day when she was doing her count time, she hits the third run, the third tier. And I guess, you know, they didn't realize there was count time. And this dude, Big T, he was in a cell with another inmate. Now, if you haven't done time, let me give you a scenario so you can imagine what I'm saying, okay? You're in a small cell, 8x8. It's a small cell. Probably your closet is probably bigger than this cell, okay? So you have your sink, your stainless steel sink, and your toilet. And then you have your two bunks on the other side. So let's say your toilet and your sink are on your right hand side. To the left, you have your bottom bunk and a top bunk, okay? And right below it, I believe on Beetle, it's above the top bunk, you have a set of lockers, and then below, on the bottom bunk, you have a set of lockers, if I can remember. okay? And then you have the space up under the bunk where you could put shit. So you don't have that much room, like I said. So when it's time for you to take a shit, you usually put your curtain up and you go behind the toilet, behind the sheet, you take a shit. If you want to jack your dick, that's the time to do it. You in there by yourself, you got your curtain up, and nobody can see you, you handle your business, okay? But when it's count time, that CO that's doing the count, when they come up to a cell that has that sheet up, they telling you, take the sheet down, because they want to see how many people are behind that sheet. If you say it's only one person, they still want to know, take the sheet down, because they want to get the count right. Because if you behind that sheet and you say, oh, it's just me, but it's really 2 or 3 of y'all, I mean, all kinds of shit, like I said, it'll fuck up their count. And if they fuck up their count, it's more work on them, okay? So they're trying to get the count right from the get-go. So when they say take that sheet down, that sheet has to come down. That CO is not moving from that cell door until he or she is able to confirm how many people are behind that sheet. And there's only supposed to be 1 if you want to get technical, okay? I mean, there's other reasons why you might have more than 1 behind that sheet. You know, a motherfucker might be trying to tattoo, motherfucker be back there smoking some weed with their cellmate, whatever. But normally, you got 1 person that's supposed to be behind that sheet. So, she walks up to this cell, and she tells the person that's registered on the roster, supposedly in that cell, hey, take the sheet down. And from what she says, it was kind of hesitation, and she could already see, you know, from the movement that you have more than 1 person behind the sheet. So she's like, hey, take the sheet down. I want to see how many of y'all back there. The sheet comes down. Big T is back there with another dude, okay? And from what she says, that she knew what was going on from the get-go. Like, she knew what it was. She basically walked up on these fools when they were doing some freaky shit. And he tried to like, and when I say he, I'm talking about like Big T, like, hey, like don't say nothing, like, you know, I got you, I'll break you off. And she was like you ain't got, you know, what I want. In other words, you can't break me off what I want. You know what I'm saying? So either you give me what I want, or I'm gonna put your ass out there. And from what she basically told us, that she told him, you know, if you can't pay me, you know, at least a stack, $1,000, so I'm gonna put your ass out there. And he was like, nah, you know, I got you, I'm gonna give you your money. Well, make a long story short, he only ended up paying her like $500. He thought that she was bullshit, you know, that she wasn't gonna say anything about it. And a couple of months later, when she tried to collect on her other $500, what he promised, which was $1,000, he told her, fuck you. I ain't giving you shit. I done gave you $500. Bitch, you better be, you know, thanking God that I'm giving you that $500. Now moving on down. In other words, he didn't think that she was gonna say anything. But this female CO, being the way she was, you know, about her money, she said, all right, you want to call yourself jacking me? I got you. And she went and she told these group of people that this person was calling shots for what she saw that day. So some of them were, you know, they didn't believe her. Like I said, this dude had a lot of people that were following him, people that were benefiting from him. And a few did believe her because they knew what kind of CO she was. I mean, she was one of them COs that she was about her money. So if she can't make no money, then it don't make no sense for her. In other words, she ain't gotta get into it. If she ain't making no money, she don't need no problems. She's trying to keep the heat down. She wants to, you know, under the radar. She's getting her money. So for her to say something, they were like, nah, it gotta be some truth to this shit. So they jam up the other dude that was in a cell with Big T. Okay? And they tell him, man, hey, you know, such and such and such guard, CO, telling us that they found you and Big T behind the curtain, and what y'all were doing was some freaky shit. Some freaky shit was going down. And at first, the dude was like, nah, man, that bitch is tripping, you know, that shit ain't true. You know, he's denying it. And they're like, man, you know, they got him outside in the rec yard. And they flat out tell him, man, if you lying and we find out you lying, you already know what's gonna happen. we fixing to blast your ass off the yard. We're gonna smash your ass. You know, we finna fuck you up. You know, we finna get your ass out of here. And this person, you know, they were like, shh, it ain't worth me getting my ass smashed. It ain't worth me getting my head split open. It ain't worth me, you know, getting smashed out the prison. So he came clean and he was like, yeah, you know, that's what we were doing behind the curtains, behind the sheets. And when I tell you that they pressed his ass, he gave up everything. How long he had been doing this with Big T, how far they were going. You know, he even said that they were, you know, they were kissing shit like a couple. And that right there was like the ultimate insult for all of his homeboys, for all the people that were representing this. Okay? When I say that's an insult, like, first of all, a lot of people look down on that shit. Okay? And matter of fact, some of the rules for some of these organizations in prison, there is no homosexuality. Some of them get down like that behind the curtains. In other words, on the DL. And if they do get, you know, found out, it's their life. It's a costly mistake. Especially if you're representing something in prison. And you got some cats that they know this, but they still continue to do this because they think they're not gonna get caught. They think they're smarter than everybody else. Until some shit like this happens, where this female CO put his ass out there. Now keep in mind, like I'm telling you, he has a lot of money. He has a lot of influence in the prison. So a lot of people are like, man, you know, this bitch is lying. But when the other dude comes out and he's corroborating the story, saying, yeah, we've been getting down like this for a while. Now more people are like, what the fuck? Like, what's up? What's the deal with this shit? And when he comes out talking about that they used to kiss, they were like a couple. Now all these dudes that been smoking behind Big T, all these dudes that been drinking coffee behind Big T, all these dudes that been drinking wine behind Big T. Because in prison, it's like a brotherhood, like I said, man. You eat with certain people, you drink behind certain people, you smoke with some people. You know, it's an environment where you doing time, you're around the same people day in, day out. So it becomes like your family. So it's not shit, you know, to, hey man, let me hit that square behind you. Hey man, let me hit that joint behind you. You know, people drink coffee all day long in prison. Hey man, let me get a shot of that coffee. So it's nothing out of the ordinary for people to smoke and drink and eat behind their fellow convicts, their homeboys, the people that they do time with. Okay? So all these people that have been eating, smoking, and drinking behind Big T, they were like, shit, man, if this dude been behind curtains, kissing, probably sucking dick, whatever, now it's putting them on a spot where they might as well have been doing it. That's the way people look at it. So not only is he disrespecting your gang, what you represent, he's disrespecting every single one of you that has drunk, ate, smoked with him. Like, flat out. I mean, you don't know if this motherfucker comes out of the cell after he done, you know, suck somebody's dick, and then he over here, you know, smoking a cigarette and passing it back to you. That's flat out, you know, like I said, motherfucker will kill you. So they did a little vote, all his people, and they voted to smash his ass, to get his ass out of there. In other words, fuck him up. So they would end up catching him in the rec yard. And when I say that they fucked this dude up, they left his ass for dead. Like literally, like the COs were running. Like they fucked this boy up. They split his head like a watermelon. Like literally, you could see the brain matter coming out of his head. Okay? They stabbed his ass up, kicked him, stomped him, you name it. It was like a field day. You had probably like 8 motherfuckers taking turns on fucking this dude up in the rec yard. Okay? It was that type of party. They would end up landing a helicopter in the prison yard, loading this dude up in the helicopter and care flighting his ass to the hospital. These are things, like I said, man, that, you know, you see these things and it's a reality check. Okay? A lot of people don't realize that these type of things, like I said, they happen in prison every day. when I say every day, I mean that shit. In some prisons, it's more notoriety, more common than other prisons. And Beetle One would happen to be one of those prisons where this shit would happen on the norm. Like I said, you're in there with some of the most violent, aggravated men on the planet. And the shit that would go down on Beetle, and this is a prime example, was basically, if you can't handle this type of shit, get out of here. Like, it's not for you. In prison, it's not for anybody, but like I said, you have different levels of prisons. Beetle happens to be one of those rock and roll gladiator schools. This shit happens. You got rapes, you got stabbings, you got people getting their head busted open, you got COs getting thrown over the third row. I mean, this is type of shit that, like I said, man, you gotta be on your P's and Q's, your head on a swivel constantly. And carry yourself with respect, and if something comes your way, you handle it. And by this happening, like I said, these dudes were put in a position where they had to get this dude out of there in that fashion. Because it was just a matter of time that if they didn't do it, they were gonna look weak. Prison politics. So what they do, they say, we're gonna take care of our own. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to let somebody clean up your shit. You're not. You take care of that shit. So once again, man, like I said, this is another day in prison. Just another day. There will be plenty of examples to come. The 12 years that I was incarcerated. Some of them are flat out, where, like I said, if you don't have the stomach for it, don't listen to it. Some of them are funny. Some of them are just flat out brutal. Some of them have, a different, a different outcome. You're thinking it's gonna be one way and it's not. So just tune in. Like I said, man, this is something that I never thought that I would be, talking about or breaking it down like they say. This is something that when I was locked up, I watch, I study, I learn, and I handle my business whenever I had to handle my business. And I thank God that here I am, and I have all my teeth. I might not have the prettiest teeth, but I have all my teeth. Nobody knocked my tooth out, and I saw that shit happen plenty of times. As many, fights that I had, like I said, I got all my teeth. So I thank God for that. I thank God that I'm here and I'm able to break it down to you guys. Everything that I speak, like I said, man, is from my experience through my eyes and my eyes only. I don't care about the politics. I don't care about, the bullshit. I'm here to kick facts. Panama's OG truth. This is a cautionary tale for my youngsters out there that are out there living the street life. You know what I'm talking about, and you also know in your heart that if you continue down this route, what I always say, it's a one-way road. And at the end of that road, prison or death is your choice. It's your choice. You don't want to be in that place. I don't want to be in that place. Nothing good in there. It's the devil's mansion, okay? So handle your business and keep your ass from getting in there. That's the best thing that I could tell you. Man to man, OG, I'm giving it to you like I know how to do it, man. Panama's OG truth. To the next one, appreciate y'all. Much love. See y'all.